that really got me, the thing that burrowed deepest, wasn't the dresses. It was the dolls. My sister had baby dolls, the kind that cried when you tilted them, the kind with soft plastic skin and painted-on eyes that blinked shut, the kind that came with tiny diapers and tiny bottles and tiny outfits. And I wasn't jealous of my sister for having them. I was jealous of the dolls themselves. Think about it. Think about what a baby doll's life looks like. She gets diapered. She gets fed from a bottle. She gets held and rocked and cooed at. She gets dressed in soft things. She is completely, utterly helpless. And that helplessness isn't a problem to be solved. It's the whole point. Someone takes care of her because that's what she needs and that's what she deserves. I never once looked at an army man and saw myself. Never once felt a connection to a plastic truck. But a baby doll that cries, that wets, that needs a mommy to care for it, on some deep, subconscious level, that was me. The accessories that came with those dolls became my first secret comforts. The tiny diapers were obviously way too small. I couldn't wear them, but I'd take one and just run my fingers across the surface of it, back and forth, feeling that soft, cottony texture against my skin. It gave me this rush of euphoria, of validation, of comfort, a feeling like the world was a safe, beautiful place. For just a moment. A feeling I still get it every time I feel a diaper touch my skin. And then there was the bottle. One of the dolls came with a bottle that was larger than the usual toy ones, almost the size of a real baby bottle, with a soft rubber nipple that actually gave when you pressed it. I couldn't resist. I took it. I filled it with water when no one was looking, and I drank from it, and the feeling that washed over me was like sinking into a warm bath. I had to hide it, obviously. Under my mattress, in the back of my closet, I rotated hiding spots like a little criminal, but it was worth the risk. Every single time I brought that nipple to my lips, suckled, and felt the water trickle down my throat, something inside me exhaled. Eventually, my sister grew up, forgot about her dolls, forgot about the bottle, and I was able to quietly absorb it into my permanent stash of secret things. I kept it for years, used it in the dark, in the quiet, in the stolen moments when the house was asleep and I could be something closer to myself. I didn't understand what I was doing. I didn't have words for it, but my body knew. My heart knew. The comfort was real. The need was real. And no amount of army men was ever going to fill it. I was 5, maybe 6, the next time I wore a diaper. My parents were both at work that day. My sister was supposed to be watching me. She was 12, maybe 13, and treated babysitting like a prison sentence. She slipped out the front door, maybe an hour or so after they left, off to a friend's house down the street. She didn't even say goodbye, just the click of the screen door and the fading slap of her shoes on the sidewalk, and then silence. I was alone. Alone was boring. I wandered from room to room for a while, dragging my fingers along the walls, opening drawers I wasn't supposed to open, pulling back curtains, climbing onto counters to reach high shelves. The kind of aimless exploring that only happens when a child is truly unsupervised and knows it. I was just restless. Eventually, I ended up upstairs, in the bathroom. There was a closet in that bathroom, narrow and deep, crammed with towels and cleaning supplies and all the boring domestic things that accumulate in the spaces nobody looks at twice. I opened it because it was there. I reached into the back of the highest shelf I could manage on my tiptoes. The shelf was dusty, forgotten, a graveyard of expired cough syrup and stiff washcloths. And then, tucked against the very back wall like it had been hiding from the world, I saw it, Something white and soft looking even under the dust. My heart skipped a beat. I pulled it down carefully, like I was handling something precious. And when I saw it in the light, I just stood there. A diaper. A real one. White and soft and perfect. There on the front were my old friends from Sesame Street. Big Bird and Elmo smiling up at me like they'd been waiting. It must have been placed there years ago, tucked away on that forgotten shelf, and simply never removed. A relic. From a life I'd been forced to leave behind. I didn't hesitate. I carried it downstairs like a treasure, like something sacred, pressing it against my shirt so it wouldn't slip. I sat down right there on the living room carpet and figured it out. The tapes were intuitive enough, even for small, clumsy fingers. It was tight. I'd grown since the last time one of these had touched my skin, but I got it fastened. Both sides, snug around my waist, and it held. And then something happened. I don't know how to describe what happened next without sounding like I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. The world got quieter. The dripping faucet in the kitchen, the hum of the refrigerator, the tick of the clock on the mantel, all of it receded like the tide pulling back from the shore. What was left was just me. Just this feeling. A rightness so total and so immediate that it almost hurt. I sat cross-legged on that carpet, and I didn't move. I didn't want to. Every nerve in my body was busy being home, and I wasn't about to interrupt that. The padding crinkled softly every time I shifted even slightly, and each little crinkle sent a wave of something through me, a jolt of pure pleasure, and I can only call it peace. Deep and full and earned. I don't know how long I stayed like that. Minutes, maybe longer. Time doesn't work right when you're that young, and the universe is finally making sense again. And then I felt it. It started warm and slow, blooming and spreading from front to back like a warm, soggy hug around my waist. I hadn't even decided to do it. My body just remembered. It remembered what my mind had been screaming about for years. That this was where I belonged. That this was what I was built for. I closed my eyes. The warmth settled against my skin, and I felt so completely held. So completely myself. I have wet myself thousands of times since then. Every time is wonderful in its own way. But that first time after it being taken away from me, sitting there on the living room floor with Elmo smiling up from a diaper, 2 sizes too small, nothing has ever matched it. Nothing ever will. That reunion, it was something I'll carry with me till my last breath. It wasn't just physical. It was spiritual. It was a homecoming. I could have stayed there forever, but the universe has a cruel sense of timing. A flash of red through the front window. My father's truck, that massive Dodge Ram Charger with the locksmith logo painted across the back glass, was rolling up the driveway. He owned the shop. He could leave whenever he wanted. And today, of all days, he wanted to leave early. Panic hit me like cold water. I scrambled to my feet and ripped the diaper off so fast, I think I tore one of the tapes clean through. I didn't have a plan. I just reacted. I looked around wildly, heart hammering, and my eyes landed on the window. I slid it open and threw it. I didn't aim. I just threw. It sailed through the gap and landed with a soft thud in the middle of the juniper bush that squatted beneath the window. A thick, thorny, dark green monster of a plant that swallowed the diaper hole, pulling it down into its center where no hand could reach without getting shredded. I ran to the bathroom, sat on the toilet, flushed for good measure. By the time my father's keys rattled in the front door, I was washing my hands and humming like nothing had happened. He never knew. Nobody ever knew. The diaper stayed in that bush for a long time. Months, maybe longer. Nobody ever noticed it because nobody knew to look. From the front window, if you looked carefully through the branches, you could see it hanging there, white against the dark green, fading, yellowing, slowly coming apart in the rain and the sun. I made it a habit to sit by that window after that. My parents thought I liked watching the street, the cars passing, the neighbors walking their dogs. They'd smile and write me off as a daydreamer. But I wasn't watching the street. I was watching an old friend slowly decay in the branches of that bush. An old friend I would forever be grateful for.
In my crib I shine bright, don't get it twisted. Call me baby little stinker, yeah I'm living gifted. 32 first birthdays, watch the candles blow. While you're clutching your pearls, I'm in my plush fort glow. So get over it, haters, it's none of your biz. I'm living my truth, that's just how it is. Not a kink, offense.